There was no comparison. Several years ago, I went to this pastor's conference for the first year, and I just became a minister, and I was just so excited to be in the loop around all these great preachers I had seen over the years, and and I couldn't wait to get in the room and just see some of these guys I followed online. I'd heard them preach and all this, and I go in there and I get my badge and I'm running around and I'm looking around and I see these pastors and bishops and all these folk walking around. They got alligator shoes and they got the fancy suits on and big crosses and hats and all this kind of carrying on. And I'm like, wow, wait a minute. I may not be enough to be here. I mean, I'm not dressed enough, or, I'm feeling like I'm kind of second nature anyway. I'm just coming into this ministry thing, and then I go down and we do this meet and greet. I sit down with these pastors and ministers, and they go around the table, and, and they get to me, and they say, I'm Minister Carpenter from Indianapolis, Indiana. They, okay. Everybody was kind of looking at me like, all right, who are you? And I'm like, wow, man, wow, okay. So I'm looking around, and they kind of dismiss me, and they start going around, and they start, talking about filling up their calendars. I'm gonna preach for you, Doc. I'm gonna come down there. I'm teaching on this, and I'm doing that. I'm sitting back, man, this is crazy. I'm thinking that, I'm coming into this great experience. I'm thinking, all I need to do is sit at the table and everything is going to be okay. But I felt dejected. I felt like I wasn't accepted. And I said, I don't need this. So I met some other pastors, down the road, and, they asked me, where was my church and this and that. And I'm like, man, I'm halfway ashamed to tell them, now. So I goes back and I'm ready. Now the ministry's going in the way, everything's going right, and everything, your members is coming, everything's great. So I said, I'll be ready the next time, I go. And I went down there and man, I sat down and they guys were talking about how many members they got, and we build another this, and we got the children's building, we build, and I'm sitting like, man, I thought I was ready, and then they were, I was kind of halfway scared to tell them. I mean, I got a startup church in the middle of the hood and all this, and wow, okay. Well, maybe I won't talk about it then, I'll just ease my little self out of here, but I thought about it. This is what God had gave me. I took my little badge in. I didn't want to tell them where I was from. And, I jumped into this ministry thing. Now I'm a pastor. I'm feeling all good about myself. And I go down there, and I'm still not at the table, in my mind. A lot of us in the same way, we feel like, we were in a place, we got ourselves to a certain place, and we're still not being accepted for who we are.
All right.
So I went back and I said, okay, I'm gonna get myself together and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna be really ready. I took a year off and I went back and I still went back to the same thing, and nothing really changed. And I thought about it from this perspective. The people that you're involved around sometimes won't change. They won't change their motives. They won't change who they are and all this kind of thing. But the thing of it is, there's no comparison for what God has given you and them.
Right.
So when you understand you operate in your fullness, everything else, nothing else matters. So we're looking at it from that perspective, everything changes, right? So Paul is trying to help us today, and he's talking to the church because the church was very immature, and they were just starting, they were fresh believers and all this, and they were making this comparison between Apollos and Cephas. They were like, this guy blessed me, man. This guy can preach up a storm. And they tell me, man, Cephas, man, he's that dude. So they're going back and forth. He's like, hold it. Man, why are y'all going back and forth about this foolishness? Y'all missing the whole concept of what it was. If he blesses you, bless him. If he blesses you over there, you bless him. But there's no comparison between the two. And I know it's hard because we get in these situations where we feel like, man, my pastor's anointed. Man, my pastor was on fire today. My pastor sang. And we get lost in the shuffle. And a lot of times, sometimes we get into those places, we don't want to invite folks to the church sometimes because our pastor, we ain't got no choir. We in the hood, or man, they gonna say this or they don't do this. They ain't got no, this or that. And we get into that narrative and we go back and forth worrying about trying to compare ourselves to a 5-star ministry. So they say. But the thing about it is, God is still there. And he's here. So it don't make a difference how many folk you got. He said, I still got something for you to tell the folk you got. So if you're going to be faithful in everything. Don't worry about if you got this or that and the other. So we look at this, we're trying to do the right things, right? We see folk and they say, well, what church you go to? Well, I go to this church. Oh, wow. So we take our little invitation, we put it back in our pockets because we feel like we can't compete with that. But what if they are looking for something more intimate?
That's right.
More personal.
Amen.
You don't know, right? So you just lost an opportunity to talk to somebody, right? So when you get into those places, we can't engage in our own mindset of what God is saying, right? So we, you're trying to do these type of things, and we get drained sometimes because we're so stuck in trying to please folk.
That's right.
And trying to do the numbers, and we're trying to do all this type of thing, and most people just disconnect.
That's right.
They won't do anything, and the church becomes divided, and it starts to fall apart because people won't do the job that they said they've been commissioned to do. Matthew 28, he says, go ye therefore and draw all men unto me. So we're doing the work of God. It don't make no difference what church you go to.
That's right. Come on.
You just got to get them on the team. I talk about every week. Man, we can come in here, we can have 10 people. Don't make me not know me. I'm still going to do the same thing that I've been entrusted to do. Right? So we got to look at it from Paul's perspective. He said, man, y'all tripping on this one thing. One thing you got to remember is we are servants first. We are servants first. He said, now, in this regard, we are not regard ourselves. He said, we are servants. And Christ entrusted us with ministries that God has revealed. Now let's start to pick this thing apart a bit. Paul says, he makes it clear that we are to not only to listen to the ministers, but we ought to understand that as ministers and people of God, we are servants first, above other things. In this text, it means to be under rowers. Under rowers in the slave context means we're the ones up under the ship rowing the boat along. So our first job is to understand we're serving God in everything that we do. And when we're serving him, we got to understand the ministry comes first. Whatever ministry you got, it's a blessing to have Sister Lisa there. She don't have to come here. She can go sing in front of thousands of people. But she understands that she has a gift that God gives her and she's willing to share it anywhere. So when you understand you're serving first, everything else takes care of itself. Right? Christ is the head. He is the chief ministry, and our job is to what? Advance the ministry. That's the only job. He said, first of all, you got to understand what your responsibility is, and it's to keep the ship moving forward. So even if you don't feel like your church may be right, you don't feel like your thing may be right, understand this one thing: I still got to do the work of the Lord. And it's like Deacon was talking about when you start as the under shepherd, the one that everybody looks past. God is looking at you to see if you're gonna be faithful over that. And then I elevate you in front of them very folk and didn't think you was going to be about that. Right? The ministry is a slave to Christ. He exalts, he says, only to advance the ministry. That's his only job. That's his only job. That's why you can continue to do what you do and do it with such excellence, because you understand it ain't about you. It ain't about you, boo. It ain't about nothing you got to tell me. I'm talking about doing what God has blessed me with. I told you, if I could sing like that, we'd be in here all day. I'd be yanking on that thing all day long. But I understand I'm going to stay in my lane. I got to hire folk to do that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Understand what your gifting is and do it the best that you can. As a servant, he's not looking to have his name called. See, when you serving, you ain't caring about who called your name. Who sent out the flyers. I did that. I put the chairs down this week. I turned the heat on. Boy, I had it right in there, didn't I? I did that for them. I did that. No, it ain't about you. God allowed me. He used me in that moment to do what I was supposed to do. But I understand, when I roll my little self out of that bed, it ain't about him. It's all about that man there. It's all about him. Right? He said, no one was to be elevated over another because of their eloquence, their abilities. But we get into that thing, don't we? My pastor, boy, he's sharp. He can lay that thing down. Boy, he can complete sentences. He can do all this kind of stuff. And he laid his hands forward, falling all down, all this kind of carrying on. And Paul's like, man, y'all tripping. Y'all tripping on this thing. It ain't about that. And a lot of times, even when I look at those guys, sometimes, I get embarrassed sometimes because of the way they conduct themselves. And I always ask myself sometimes, Lord, how did you bless your folk with them? Because I don't understand how you can give him a multitude. And they don't care nothing about their people. I know a whole bunch of pastors don't even greet and talk to their people at all. Or text or call, oh, baby, please. I don't do that. I don't do it. My job is to preach the word. A lot of them don't even come in to worship. I ain't got time for that, man.
That's right.
Get my check ready. I'm gonna come out there and give them a word, and I'm out of here. But in a ministry like this, they got contact with the pastor. A lot of people are intimidated by that because they get firsthand, knowledge and touching of the pastor. Like, wait a minute, man, I ain't used to that. Because I'm used to just staying in my own little corner and nobody bothers me. But sometimes I got to get a message to you that you need to hear directly from the Lord. So I'm going to come to you directly. I know some of you may not be reading, some of you may not be doing what you're supposed to do. So I got to come to you directly. And that's why when I understand what my job is, I'm going to do my job with everything that I got. So he said, look here, there's no comparison. Don't be comparing folks. Don't be doing all that kind of stuff. My pastor may call me. My pastor don't call me. So what? So what? There's no comparison between the two. Somebody has the ability to do one thing and other ones don't. Pastor got 10,000 members. He can't call 10,000 people. He just can't do it. Right? When you got twos and fews, baby, you got all day. You see what I'm saying? But the three things we ought to remember. Ministries are not to judge one another.
That's right.
We're to elevate one another.
Right.
Doc, if you got 10,000, man, I'm keeping you in prayer. Man, you got 35, man, I got you in prayer. Man, because we in this thing together. And Paul said, you got to understand that you cannot be comparing one another to anything that God has blessed you with. But then he also says this. He said, you must be stewards over what God has given you. God gives us a position. And we ought to be good stewards of what he gives us with. We're not to be sitting around complaining about folk not giving. We're not complaining about you not coming. We're going to elevate you every time you come. We're going to appreciate you for coming, and we're going to make sure we're taking care of God's business. So if it calls for me to run the vacuum, Sister Lisa, I'm going to run the vacuum. I ain't got no problem with that. You need me to go up there and clean out the bathroom. I ain't got no problem with that because I understand this. He watches everything that I do. So I gave you that building. You think you're paying for it, but you see the increase every month. He said, I'm giving you that increase so you can take care of your business. He said, I know you're working for free, Pastor. That don't have nothing to do with me because I'm going to take care of you on the other side. All these jokers talking about how much money they making. And, I need to get this appearance over here and all this. And I'm sitting back like, man, I don't get no advice nowhere. God said that you got an operation that you got to take part in at your house. I ain't got time for you to be running around. You need to be doing your surgery right there at Third Dimension Worship Church. See, but when you start comparison, you could get yourself in trouble because, why come I ain't getting exposure? Why come I ain't getting out there? Your name is already out there.
That's right.
God already knows you. What you need to go to 17 different churches for to say the same thing you can say at Third Dimension. Give it all you got right there. And watch and see what I'm going to do with you right there. You got to be over good stewards of what you're doing, over what God bless you. But then he says, there are to ensure there are treasures in the church, and they need to be taken care of as God reveals them. We got to take care of things in the church as God reveals them, right? But then we got to be trustworthy. See, that's the tough one sometimes when you get in ministry, because folk, we always got that little thing about pastors anyway. Pastor won't mess with the money. Pastor won't do all this kind of thing. No. Baby, somebody touch me with some money. If it ain't for me, baby, it'll be on the floor. It'll be swung. Because I'm telling you, I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want nothing to do with it. Because the thing of it is, you'll get yourself in a situation sometimes you may forget.
That's right.
Somebody tell you, put this in the church for me. And you get to the store and you pull out that old hot 20, you think it's yours. You better spend up somebody's money.
That's right.
So if somebody gives me something for the church, it goes in the envelope, something, hey, I'm getting it out of my hand as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because the thing of it is, there's an integrity issue with that.
That's
you
right.
know, you send them back a letter, thank you for donating your $20. I didn't put no $20, there was $40 in there. Where'd the other 20 go? Folk would do that to
That's
you.
right. That's right.
So I don't put myself in that position. I want to be trustworthy in everything that God gives me, because I'm not gonna put myself in a situation like that, right?
Yeah.
But he said, you gotta be faithful to what God has given you.
That's right.
Not only you gotta be trustworthy, you gotta be faithful. So when you wake up after your nap Sunday, I know you're tired. I know you think about no raggedy job you got. Get back into your word, because there's a word you got to give them next week. Man, God, I want to just lay in bed. Everybody else get to do it. You got to be faithful when I'm giving you, son.
Yeah, yeah.
Get up off your behind and get out there and do the work. Man, I'm so overwhelmed. You know, no. I'm going to give you the strength that you need every day to do what I asked you to do. The thing about it is, don't get caught up in yourself. Understand this. Be trustworthy. Be faithful. Get your tail up. They know when they come around that corner, the first vehicle they're going to see is that truck sitting out there. Everybody calms down then. But boy, I tell you, that truck ain't there. He out again. You know, the folks is texting me, really? You know, everybody upset, right? Because they're so used to me being here, being faithful, doing what I'm asked to do, right? But can I ask the same of you?
All right, come on.
I don't look out there in the parking lot worrying about who's here taking attendance. My concern is about who ain't here. And I'm thinking about it in the context, what could be going on with them.
Yeah.
But I ride down the street and I look at all these folks that don't have no church. What about them?
Yeah.
I ain't concerned about that. I'm concerned about the loss. You here, you good.
Yeah.
But I ain't got time to be taking attendance, clickers at the door and all this kind of carrying on. I got to do what God has called me to do and be faithful over what he gives me, right? And then you got to share the gospel and do not block the truth. Oh boy, that's a tough one there. He said, give it to them, and it better be right.
Yeah.
Don't mix it with nothing, and you give them the message that I gave you to give them.
Yeah.
Folk gonna leave out there hurt sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's because they don't do the things that I'm asking them to do on their jobs.
Yeah.
I done told you to stop that gospel. You keep on doing it. So you came in here and pastor preached a whole message on that. Now you walk out here, you mad.
Yeah.
He all in my business. How'd I know what you was doing? God knows.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Because when I go into prayer, hey man, I'm not looking to cut nobody. He said, you give it to him just like I told you,
Yeah.
or you gonna have a problem with me.
Yeah.
He said, don't mix the message. Give it just the way I give it to you. And let God do it. Great leaders, men in all fields, have not been arrogant and or greedy, but they're servants. The real servants are the true nobility. The greatest of all is a son of God himself, declared he had come not to be served, but to be a servant. And he gave his life as a ransom for many. That's what servanthood is.
Yeah.
But don't judge me. Right? Paul breaks this thing down. He said in verse 3, he said, I care very little if I'm judged by you or anybody else. I'm just ad-libbing that last. He said, I don't care nothing about being judged, right? In ministry, you got to be thick-skinned.
Yeah.
You got to be thick-skinned because people are always going to try to get you to react to something they say.
Yeah.
People are always going to say something crazy to you just to get you outside of your element.
Amen.
You know, because they know if the pastor starts clowning, I got a green light to say whatever it is I want to say.
Yeah.
So I go around my job. I know I got some folk that don't like the color of my skin. I don't know if it's my skin or height, whatever the issue is. So they'll make remarks sometimes. And one of my brothers in the church, in the job, he said, man, I don't see how you keep it so calm. I said, brother, I say a silent prayer and I keep on walking because if I react to everything in here, some furniture gonna get moved up in here. Right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let God's glory touch it. See, and I said, you know, after you pass out a few F-bombs and do what you gotta do, you lost everything.
That's right.
This is the thing.
That's right.
If I go in there and clown on them like that, the first thing they're gonna say, he said he a pastor. Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah.
Anything I say after that is gone.
That's
I
right.
cannot give them another invitation.
That's right.
I can't bless them. I can't do
That's
nothing.
right. That's
I am immediately compartmentalized and they're done.
Yeah.
They are done.
Yeah.
Okay, in this world of social media, we try to gain approval from everyone. We feel the need. We got to comment on everything. Everything somebody posts, we got to be there. You know, the one, as soon as you put something up, they the first one. They get in there. They got, well, you know, we got to put ourselves in a place where we're really trying not to judge folk, but we really are. Because we feel like we got opinion on everything, right? In many ways, we're placing judgment on. Sometimes we just got to let things ride. I sit there and look at some of the stuff sometimes, and Lord knows I want to go in. That ain't my job.
Right.
That ain't my job. Because, see, coming from me, it's going to be totally different.
Yeah.
It's going to be totally different. So now we got to have a theological debate as to what's going on. No, leave it alone. Understand, I'm doing the work of the Lord, and you got to understand, in your work, you can't be judging folks. In all the works, criticism and disapproval, they hurt, and it cuts us deep. But none of that matters in God's eyes. So if folk is criticizing you and putting you down, you ain't got to react to everything that they say. Especially in this era, they look for a reason to tear the church down, but for most people are looking for reasons not to go. So you want a built-in reason not to come to worship.
Yeah.
You want a built-in reason not to send your monies.
Yeah.
And we get so caught up in that thing, and God said, man, you tripping. You are out of line. You are totally out of line. But see, nobody wants to be totally out of line, so they'll just go back and they'll just fall back into their own little cocoon and throw the pity party, and they'll justify their actions by doing the opposite of what God said.
That's right.
People will always try to tear you down. There's always going to be something or another, because hurt people want to hurt people. That's what they do. And we will say, man, but we got a whole bunch of people within our circle that are trying to tear us apart piece by piece because they've been hurt. They never put themselves under a teaching to get them no better, so they try to hurt other folk. So everything that comes out of their mouth, they try to tear folks down, put people down, all this kind of stuff. Paul said, don't judge me. Don't judge me. One of the young ladies I work with, she's been trying to get her little self together, eating right. So every time she comes in, she got whole soda pop, she got all this kind of stuff. And I look at her, she got whole holes and all this, and I'm just looking at her. And the first thing comes out of her mouth, don't judge me. And that's exactly what I'm doing, even by looking at her crazy. And I'm trying to help the girl get better, because she wants to eat better, she wants to do stuff. Everybody can't give up meat like me. Everybody can't do that. My wife, she struggles with that thing. Boy, pass a ham sandwich down, girl can't pass it up. I understand it. She tried to be without meat. She tried for 2 days. Said, baby, I got to go back to my ham hock and stuff. I just beat. Right? Everybody can't do that. But I can't judge her for that.
Yeah.
But she makes sure I eat the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? So we in this thing together. Even if she's not doing what I asked her to do or trying to improve, she said, man, we're still in this thing together. I'm going to prepare your meals. I'm going to have everything right for you because I understand I'm honoring God through you. Right? So it's always something, right? So people, they were trying to hurt you, try to tear you down. But there have been people that came through the church, they done cut me and my family, they cut them to shreds. And been hurtful, but in God's eyes, it don't matter.
All right.
Boy, them jokers done talked about me like a dog. But that's okay. I don't call, leave them nasty messages and all this kind of stuff. I'll do it with my flesh. Sister Lisa, Lord have mercy. Lord, you talking about deliverance. Boy, I want to take some of these jokers into the woodshed. But I said, that does not honor God.
That's right.
God says, you pray for those that spitefully misuse you. He said, I take care of them.
Oh, yeah.
But then he goes another thing. He flips it on you. He said, you can't even take solace in the fact that I'm doing it to them. Because if you do, I'm going to start it on you. I can't enjoy the fact that they done lost their house. I can't enjoy the fact that they lost their job. Ooh, boy, I just want to just laugh. I said, don't you do it. Don't you do it. But that's what we are. We got to stay strong in the midst of everything that's going on. We got to do the work we've been called to do no matter what. People judge the size of your church, your abilities, your teaching, anything that they may not like. And they'll do it on a grand stage just to bring you down. As people of God, we don't have the right to judge anyone. This is not your job. Get yourself out of God's place. Quit talking about folk, putting folk down. Quit comparing ministries. Your pastor may be, hey, the great I am, okay? But that's not our job to place no comparison on them. Quit comparing ministries, preachers. This is not our job. Is Christ pleased with your ministry? That is all that counts. I live by that. As long as Christ is pleased with the work that I'm doing, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. We might not ever have this great big emphasis, but God says, be faithful of what you got. And watch and see what I'm going to do. Right? But then you got to understand this. In the choir of life, it's easy to fake the words. But someday, each of us will have to sing a solo before God.
Amen.
You can fake it now. But one day, baby, you're going to have to pull up a solo. Whether you sing, whether you can sing or not. When you open up your mouth, he said, let me hear it. Give me an A, Peter. Let's go. It's your time. It ain't about, well, Pastor did. No. Pastor didn't make you do that. You did that. You did it. You made a conscious decision to do what it is that you're doing. Right? Last thing he said, God is the final judge. God, he said, verse 5, he said, therefore, judge nothing before the appointed time. Wait until the Lord comes. Paul makes it clear that you are not to do nothing in your own time.
That's right.
Nothing. Wait until God reveals what it is that he wants to reveal. This is not your opportunity to tear folk down. He said, just wait until the appointed time and watch and see what I'm going to do in this situation. But we're quick to place our opinion on someone about something that don't have nothing to do with us, but we want to do that. But that's not our job. In due time, we will have to stand before God. He will make the calls, and he will judge the things that we've done in our life. We stand before God. He will expose the motives of our heart, where we are. Why did you do that? What made you do that? What made you change your name? Why did you treat them like that? What did you do in your ministry? When I told you to say this in that sermon, why didn't you do it?
Yeah.
Were you more concerned about filling up your pocket, or were you more concerned about delivering folk?
Yeah.
Did you ever preach this sermon on salvation like I told you to, or was you so concerned about lifting up the hands and telling the folk how they gonna get rich through your ministry? I told you to preach a word that woman needed. I told you that, and you jumped over it. You had some folk in your church you know that was going wayward. You didn't say a word about it. Now your church is all torn apart. Now you want to come back to me to fix it. When I told you to give them the word. Folk come to you talking about they broke, bust, and disgusting. Did you give them the tools they need to get out of, or did you just act like they didn't say nothing? He will expose your motives. We're trying to build people. We're not trying to tear folk down. We're trying to build something. And you can't build them by tearing them down.
That's right.
Everybody has a motive for something. And this new year is going to come out all kind of stuff. I'm going to start talking better. I'm going to lose 10 pounds. We're going to make all these proclamations. It ain't going to follow none of them. But it sounds good, right? In the new year, we want to make it right? So we want to somehow or another trick ourselves into doing something different than we've been doing. But if it doesn't build the kingdom, it's really not worth doing. We got to make sure that we're doing everything for the Lord. No one can know the motives that we operate under, but God will expose them at the right time.
Amen.
So you look at certain ministries, you look at certain things that are going on, and you wonder, how do they keep getting away with that? How do they do that? But the fact of the matter is, God said in due time, everything's going to be exposed, and I'm going to put a light on everything that's been dark. So you got to be careful, because you never know when it's going to come back around, and when it's your season to put a light on. So we like to walk around in a spotlight. We like to walk around, boy, looking shining, but we don't want nobody to expose them things in our life that gets us off with God. We don't touch that now. Now I'm cool with you going in there, making little jokes and saying that, but don't come to my house after hours, because there's some things going on there that you may not be privy to, sir. There's some things I do at night. I don't want to be exposed to the ministry, but God sees everything. We can't hide nothing from him. In this world, there should be no division between us. We all serve one Christ. So quit highlighting our differences and let's start building some bridges. Let's start overcoming some of the things that are going on in our life. Let's start overcoming some of the things, some of the challenges we have in our ministries. Let's start, not looking at skin color. Let's look at the common things we have in common, and let's start building on some of those things. Because we start building on some of those things, our dynamic things start to happen. Because I start to see something in you I didn't see before. Just because now we're starting to build and not tear down. Anybody can find a fault in somebody. I can do that all day long. But what do we have in common that we can build on? In this season, we need to be glorifying our Father. And let's find the good in people and not their faults. God is the only one that can render judgment in this season. And he's going to do it. There's no judgment if we look through the lenses of grace. When we look through the lenses of grace, there is no comparison. There is no comparison. Because God, he done already went to, a whole nother level when it talks about love, grace. He done went to a whole nother level when we go there. So there's no way we can ever compare to that. But we got to look through people through the lens of grace and finding a love that we don't operate in all the time. The one thing, I'm going to leave you with this. The one thing that has grown me the most is I know that God is my source. Everywhere you see me outside the church, I always try to put my Third Dimension Worship Church stuff on. It ain't because I want to get any extra glory at all. But what I'm walking around is, and I'm showing folk what God has blessed me with. And as I operate in my faithfulness, I understand he's trusting me with this, but then I'm being a good steward. So I try to represent him in everything that I do. So sometimes when I'm riding around and I got my shirt on or my jacket or whatever it is, somebody says something or does something, and I kind of glance down at that logo. Can't do it. Because in my flesh I want to.
Yeah.
But see, when you're accountable to God, you understand that I got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And that helps me in there, because God could have gave Third Dimension Worship to anybody, but he chose me to do it. And I'm going to do everything that I can to elevate him, to make sure he gets the glory. It has nothing to do with me at all, because there should be no comparison when it comes to what God thinks and what we do.
Yeah.
We should be on the same sheet of music, doing the same thing that he's asking us to do. Ain't no, man, baby, if you got 5,000 men, man, bless you. Bless you, man. If you got 25, man, thank you. Thank you. Because that's 25 people that's getting an opportunity to hear the gospel. Man, just do what it is that God has called you to do. There is no comparison when it comes to ministry. Amen.